University of Cape Coast. Before I invite our chair to give his welcome address and also introduce our speaker, I would kindly ask that we rise again and sing the UCC anthem.
UCC, we are the liveliest of them all. UCC, we are the teachers of the nation. We learn to teach, we find out and pass on, we console, we guide, that all may be enlightened. UCC, therefore rise to your call. UCC, to the call, let us rise to our call, let us rise, well, let us know this lumen. UCC, therefore rise to your call. UCC, to the call, let us rise to our call, let us rise, well, let us know this lumen. UCC, we are the humblest of them all. UCC, we are the bedrock of our knowledge. And proud of this, we students and workers in concert shall work, that your image may be heightened. UCC, therefore rise to your call. UCC, to the call, let us rise to our call, let us rise, Veritas nobis lumen. UCC, therefore rise to your call. UCC, to the call, let us rise to our call, let us rise, Veritas nobis lumen. UCC, we are the kindest of them all. UCC, we are the brainchild of Nkrumah. We train, we mold, and live by his vision to impart of virtue, that Ghana may be strengthened. UCC, therefore rise to your call. UCC, to the call, let us rise to our call, let us rise, Veritas nobis lumen. UCC, therefore rise to your call. UCC, to the call, let us rise to our call, let us rise, Veritas nobis lumen.
Thank you. Kindly resume your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm round of applause, help me welcome our Vice Chancellor who is chairing today's inaugural lecture, Professor Johnson Nyakon Bwampong.
Professor Mrs. Rosemont Aboadu-Abohin, Pro-Vice Chancellor, UCC. Mr. Jeff Emmanuel Onyame, Registrar, UCC. Professor Kwaku Aduchum Ayimboache, Vice Chancellor, Cape Coast Technical University. Pro-Vice Chancellors of Sister Universities present. Registers of Sister Universities present, Reverend Professor Emmanuel Adobin, former Vice Chancellor UCC, Professor Nana Obokwajiman, former Vice Chancellor UCC and former Minister of Education, Professor Didi Kupoli, former Vice Chancellor UCC, Professor Joseph Gata Ampia, former Vice Chancellor UCC, Professor Joshua Osu Sechere, former Vice Chancellor, Cape Coast Technical University, Professor David Kofi Esuma, former Vice Chancellor, Kofodia Technical Universities, Osabrama Kwesiata, Omahin of Ogwa Traditional Area, Nana Kweku Enu the Third, Marehin of Ogwa Traditional Area, Nananom, Professor John Nelson Boa, former Pro Vice Chancellor UCC, Professor George K.T. Odro, former Pro Vice Chancellor UCC, Professor Dora Francisca Dubuando, former Pro Vice Chancellor UCC, Provosts, Deans, Directors of Academic and Administrative Units, Heads of Department and Heads of Hall, Members of Convocation, Staff and students, distinguished invited guests, friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the Governing Council, management, staff and students of the University of Cape Coast, I welcome you to today's professorial inaugural lecture to be delivered by Professor John Gatchie. We wish to extend a hearty welcome to all our special guests, families and friends of Professor Gatchie. We say Akwaba, and we appreciate your presence and support. Distinguished invited guests within the Academy, inaugural lectures provide the occasion for universities to acknowledge the appointment or promotion of academics to the rank of professor, introduce them, and provide them with the opportunity to engage with the university community. An inaugural lecture is therefore a significant milestone in academics' career, recognizing promotion to professor. Ladies and gentlemen, these lectures form a key part of the traditions of the University of Cape Coast, where we create the platform to enable our astute professors to showcase to the university-wide audience their research or their perspectives on issues of interest to them. Each lecture provides an opportunity for academics to share, among other things, their achievements in research, innovation, engagement, and teaching activities before an audience of members of the university community and the general public. As you already know, it is the only time an academic gets to profess what he knows or thinks without being questioned. Though Professor Gatchie was promoted to the professorial rank in 2020, it is today that he would celebrate this important personal milestone with a broad audience, including members of the public, family, friends, colleagues, both old and new. Professor Gatchie will synthesize his scholarship and contribution to knowledge in his field of specialization, which is finance, in the inaugural lecture captioned Islamic Banking Options, Exploring an Inclusive Alternative or Complements. Professor Gatchie will deliver the lecture in a simplified manner so that individuals who do not belong to the same field with him would understand what he has come to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Before Professor Gatsi steps forward to deliver his inaugural lecture, permit me to read his profile. John Gartchie is a professor of finance and dean of the School of Business Studies at the University of Cape Coast. He comes from the Virgo in the Ketu North municipality of the Volta region. He is a visiting professor of the University of Groningen and participates actively in national economic discussions. He has presented papers at seminars and conferences in the School of Business Studies seminar series and the African Accounting and Finance Conference in Nigeria, Uganda, and South Africa. He presented on different topics on Islamic banking at the International Annual Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana conferences. He has led the School of Business Studies to become a member of Association to Advance the Collegiate Schools of Businesses and international accreditation body that gives broader visibility and provides opportunities to students and staff. He has been a keynote speaker at different fora organized by the Center for Social Justice, Accra, Kita Secondary School, his alma mater, and University of Applied Sciences in Germany. This notwithstanding, he has delivered lectures on professional ethics in the University of Cape Coast. Academic and professional profile. Professor Gatsi started his secondary school education at Kita Secondary School, now Kita Secondary Technical School, where he obtained his General Certificate Education, GCE Ordinary Level Certificate, that's Science, in 1993, and General Certificate of Education, Advanced Level, in 1995. In 1997, he was offered admission at the University of Ghana to read Bachelor of Science in Administration with accounting option and completed in 2000. In the year 2003, he was offered admission to read Master of Science in International Accounting at Gothenburg University, Sweden. He also read Masters of Science in Advanced Finance at the Gothenburg University. He further obtained a Master of Business Administration MBA in General Management from the Blekinge Institute of Technology, Sweden. In 2014, he obtained PhD in Finance from the Central University of Nicaragua. And in 2011, he obtained a Bachelor of Laws from the University of Ghana Law School. He was later called to bar in 2017. He is a fellow of the Association of Certified Chartered Economists and a Chartered Financial Economist since 2009. He later became a Chartered Petroleum Economist. In 2016, he obtained a certificate in project management from the Crown Agents in the United Kingdom. He has been a member of the Institute of Directors and a member of the Ghana Bar Association since 2017. He is a fellow of the Institute of Project Management Professionals in Ghana. Work profile. After completing his national service, Professor Gartchie worked with the Go Limited as an account officer in Accra and later joined the Value Added Tax Service, now of the Ghana Revenue Authority, in 2002. And he worked with the Debt Management and Special Investigation Unit at the Operations Department. Professor Gatsi was employed at the University of Cape Coast as a lecturer in 2007 to teach finance and related courses. He was promoted to the rank of senior lecturer in 2012 and the rank of associate professor in 2016. He was promoted to professor of finance in 2020. Leadership and administrative profile. Professor Gartchie has been the Dean of School of Business Studies of the University of Cape Coast since August 2019 to date. Before 2019, he was the head of the Department of Finance from August 2016 to July 2019. He has been an academic advisor to undergraduate students and an examination officer for the then Department of Accounting and Finance between 2008 and 2010. In 2010, he was the coordinator for the sandwich program for the then Department of Accounting and Finance. Professor Gartchie was the coordinator of the MBA Oil and Gas Management from 2014 to 2022. He has served on many statutory committees of the university. He was the best lecturer for the 2015-2016 academic year, awarded by the Students' Representative Council of the university. He is a member of the African Accounting and Finance Association. He has provided inclusive leadership that creates the environment for the upgrade of all, leading to the needed development of staff and lecturers. He has contributed to reshaping students' internships and making it more organized and relevant. Mentorship profile. Since 2015, he has mentored several teaching and non-teaching staff within the university ecosystem. He has mentored many students, and now at least 6 students are pursuing PhD programs. Professor Gartchie has helped in the recruitment of several UCC graduates from the School of Business Studies to get employment in the financial industry. He is the leader of the John Gatsi Educational Foundation, and he has mentored many students and teachers through the John Gatsi Educational Foundation activities over the years. Teaching and supervision. Professor Gartchie teaches courses at all levels. Generally, he teaches courses related to finance, law, and oil and gas. Professor Gartchie's PhD students have graduated, and 2 more have submitted their work for assessment. He has also supervised 12 MCOM students and 22 MBA students since 2017. Contribution to academic development. Professor Gartchie has contributed to the development of the School of Business Studies by providing leadership in the development of relevant programs which are at various stages of consideration by the academic board, including the Doctor of Business Administration, DBA, the Master of Commerce and Master of Science in Custom Administration, and related disciplines. He has provided leadership in making available programs of the school to the Ghana military. Extension services. Professor Gartchie has examined MPhil and PhD theses and promotion documents for both public and private universities in Ghana and abroad. He is a member of the Governing Council of Evangelical Presbyterian University College, WHO, and Jiasikan College of Education, Jiasikan. He was the chair of the jury for the Institute of Financial and Economic Journalists Flamingo Award panel with sponsorship from the World Bank for 2018 and 2019. He has also served on a number of local and international boards. He has served as a reviewer of the reports, manuals, and journal articles of corporate and academic institutions and organizations. In 2017, he was the trainer in the Petroleum Revenue Management to new parliamentarians organized by the Finance Committee of the Parliament and IFEJ in Akosomo. Professor Gatchie has shared his views on topical issues on the economic management of Ghana on international news channels such as the BBC, Voice of America, Al Jazeera, DW News Channel, and CNBC Africa. About his family. Professor Gartchie was born in Accra in February 1971 to the late Mr. Kwame Safo Gartchie and Madame Janet Abla Nyabedi, but started basic education in the Volta region. He has 5 siblings: Victoria, Francis, Foster, Christian, and Edith. He is married to Mercy Dovi, and they have been blessed with 3 children: Asiye, Akofa, and Bubune. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Chair. This is for your kind attention that this event is live on Facebook, on TV UCC, as well as Wezo TV. To herald the inaugural lecture this afternoon, we have 2 students, Comfort Mensah, a level 200 BCom finance student, and Elisa Fett Opari, a level 300 BCom management student, to give us a poetry recital. Let's welcome them with a round of applause.
Thanks so much for this opportunity. Many have questions to question the economy of Ghana. Is it going to recover? They ask. We are told that Islamic financial option can be a force to be recognized with. But Islamic banking option is an inclusive alternative to be explored. Henry Ford said, "It is well enough that that the people of the nation do not understand banking, because if they do, there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning."
Islamic banking. No speculation or gambling deceit. Just ethical dealings, making balance complete. Investment aligned with Sharia's decree, bringing a harmony to economies C. In times of crisis, it stands up as a cure, as a guide. Through Islamic banking, all troubles subside. For nations that need economic lift, its principles ensure a sustainable shift. Let us all embrace this financial art for a better future. Let us take part. Islamic banking, indeed a beacon of hope, guiding nations to prosper and helping them cope. Islamic banking, indeed a beacon of hope. Thank you.
So it's time to listen to the lecture by Professor John Gatsi Esquire. He will be speaking on Islamic banking options, exploring an inclusive alternative or complement. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome our speaker.
Professor Chair, permit me to utilize the already established protocols for this lecture. Thank you. Before I start, I wish to extend my gratitude to Professor Jenana Apoku Ajima because my appointment letter was signed by her. And Professor Didi Kupoli signed my first promotion letter to senior lecturer. Professor Gate signed my promotion letter to associate professor. And Professor Johnson Buampo signed my promotion to professor. So I thank all of you for gathering here to listen to me. Before I start, it's also important, though there will be time for acknowledgement, to recognize that the former governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Isaheku Nashiru, is in our midst. And the former deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana is also here. Thank you for coming. I am speaking on the topic Islamic banking options, exploring an inclusive alternative or complement. My lecture will cover the following areas: general understanding of Islamic banking and finance, history of Islamic banking globally and in Africa, Ghana's dream to introduce Islamic banking, Islamic banking principles and approaches, Islamic contracts sukuk, that is Islamic bond, and infrastructure benefit of Islamic banking. Then I will briefly touch on contribution to research and publication. Of course, greater part of the research and publication have been exhibited from Monday to today at the library. So the question some people are asking is that, are we promoting Islamic banking to substitute conventional finance and banking? The answer is no. All we are talking about is that we need Islamic banking to complement conventional finance. Conventional finance or banking started so long ago. In fact, in 1587, the first conventional bank was started in Venice, and the first central bank under conventional banking started in 1668. So you cannot compare the strength of Islamic banking today, which started in 1963 in Egypt, to what started in 1587. Then again, the size of Islamic financial assets, that is including banking, capital, market dealings, Islamic microfinance, and the rest, amount to about $2 trillion. And conventional banking assets, as of 2022, stand as 183 trillion US dollars. So if you match that with Islamic banking, you see that, number one, Islamic banking is of recent development, and it doesn't have the strength to displace conventional banking. So all we are talking about is to create an avenue to let Islamic banking contribute its quota while we continue to manage conventional finance. We need to aspire to the benefit or to benefit from alternative models of financing and to diversify infrastructure finance. That is what Islamic banking provides. And create new banking jobs and formalize poverty reduction strategies, especially for Zongo communities. And I will touch on that soon. In the past, especially starting from 2012, I have discussed various topics in Islamic banking. The first one was Islamic banking and the role of regulator. So in some countries, it is the regulator who starts the quest to establish Islamic banking and engage in all the stakeholder engagement and ensure that Islamic banking is established. And in some other countries, individuals and groups, especially aligned with Islamic faith, were the one who started the advocacy role, and the central bank takes over and complete the process. Islamic banking and climate change. The principles of Islamic banking are such that Islamic banking do not finance activities that are inimical to the environment. They don't finance activities that destroy the environment. So that is how Islamic banking promotes or ensures that the values of proper environmental activities are undertaken. Islamic banking and economic growth. Various activities of Islamic banking, especially financing infrastructure across board, contribute to the growth of the economy, and the particular structure of financing poverty reduction strategies also contribute to economic growth. Islamic banking and financial inclusion. When we open Islamic banking to be added to conventional banking, that is a way of ensuring that we achieve financial inclusion. The Islamic banking will also add its portfolio of financial products and services to conventional banking products and services. And those who are not interested in conventional banking will go in for Islamic banking financial product. And in that way, we are including all in the financial landscape. Islamic banking and public debt management. This is a thorny issue. Under Islamic banking, debt management is such that when capital is acquired, on the other side, you see the asset that is created by the capital. We have found ourselves in a situation where we borrow so much, but we can't account so much in terms of the assets that have been created by the debt that have been procured. We have created a number of uncompleted projects, a number of projects that have been stopped. As a result of that, normally, by 2 years' time, when projects are stopped and they are not continued, definitely the cost is either double or triple. And that is the reason why we have seen so many uncompleted projects across the country we cannot complete because of the way we manage debt. And we need to pay attention to how proper debt management is undertaken. In MENA countries, that is Middle East and North Africa countries, we have seen that the debt to GDP ratio of those countries is average 40%. It's average 40%. In fact, in 2022, Saudi Arabia recorded 23.8%, United Arab Emirates 24.2%, and Algeria 32%. Egypt is an outlier, 86.6%, 8.8%, and Morocco 65%. Then some would argue that all these countries will have oil. But the question is, in Ghana, don't we have oil? In Nigeria, don't we have oil? We have. So it's all about proper debt management. So if we don't manage our debt, we cannot achieve a lot for the country. So it's better we get back to proper debt management. Good. Now I want to briefly touch on debt exchange program and debt rethinking. The experiences we went through the debt exchange program has shown us some lessons that we need to focus on proper debt management. The debt exchange program has actually created negative effect for the banking sector. In fact, we have about 9 indigenous banks or local banks. And I'm showing you on the board the losses that they incur at the end of 2022. And these are the financial institutions that are meant to finance our SMEs, that are meant to finance economic activities to spur growth in the country. But in 2022 December, GCB, which is another one of the indigenous banks, posted about 555 million losses as a result of the debt exchange program. In fact, if you go to CBG rather, they posted the highest losses of 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. And for NIB, it's not even reported because NIB has not been reporting its financial statement to the regulator as required by law for some time now. So we need to do something to create strength for our indigenous banks to thrive. And this thing is caused by the debt exchange program. Debt exchange program was occasioned by debt burden. Was actually occasioned by debt burden. From 2007, we have changed the debt structure of the country, where we have moved away significantly from bilateral debt and multilateral debt, and we have included in the debt structure the Eurobond. We have our first Eurobond in 2007. That was about $750 million. And since that time, we continue to go in for Eurobond. The idea is that the Eurobond, when you go in for Eurobond, the bond is structured normally semi-annually. So what that means is that if you are going in for a project of 2 years duration, and you go in for a debt to finance that particular project, it means that by the time you complete the project, you have paid coupon about 4 times. And that put burden on the management of those projects. And Islamic banking is not arranged in that way. And that will take away some pressure on the economy when Islamic banking is adopted. So debt management strategy, there should be some rethinking about debt management to include other sources of financing, including Islamic banking, to augment conventional sources of financing projects. Naturally, periods of debt crisis are the times that people call for the establishment of Islamic Bank. because of its rule of no interest, principles of proper management, and principle of ensuring that debt acquired is either near equal to asset created or significant asset created. So Islamic finance deals with Islamic banking, deals with Islamic capital market, deals with Islamic microfinance, deals with Islamic insurance, which we call takaful. The aim of Islamic banking is to reduce poverty, is to promote social justice and less burdensome engagement in project finance. Zakat and corporate finance. Zakat, I will explain zakat from two levels. Zakat is a requirement for all Muslims to contribute to a fund to cater for the needy and vulnerable in their societies. But I'm discussing zakat from the perspective of the Islamic banks. When they make profit, part of the profit is decided by the Sharia Supervisory Board into a fund called Zakat Fund. And that fund will be guided well to direct to fighting or addressing poverty issues in Muslim communities, and that will contribute to fighting poverty for the country at large. So that is a perspective with which I am discussing zakat. And corporate social responsibility has been with us for some time, where corporate entities factor their corporate social responsibility activities in their corporate plans. Of course, if it is not part of the corporate plans, that is not proper way of undertaking corporate social responsibility. And it also has to be reflected in the budget of the corporate entities. And it has a effect of tax deductibility. What that means is that companies that pay or that pay attention to corporate social responsibility, those amounts that they spend will be reducing the burden of the tax that they pay to the government. And that is why government will have to be very conscious about corporate social responsibility activities in the country. The idea is that government should ensure policy that will outline pipeline of projects and programs that will attract corporate entities to direct some of the amount to financing well-programmed activities of government, and then they can focus the rest on their communities or their catchment area where they are operating. In that case, there will be optimal and there will be efficiency in managing corporate social responsibility across board in the country. That is the idea about zakat and corporate social responsibility. The World Bank is involved in Islamic finance to reduce poverty, to promote financial sector and then development, broaden financial inclusion, and build financial sector stability and resilience in countries where Islamic banking is practiced. And one will say, so long as the World Bank is on board, then it's good to go. So long as the IMF is on board, it's good to go. So long as the UN is on board, it's good to go. So we have no say. We just have to tap into the benefit of Islamic banking. Islamic banking has some prospects. One is to create new banking products and services. So we are well aware of the financial products and services created by a conventional banking system. Islamic banking will also bring on board additional banking products and services and transactions that are the prospect of Islamic banking. Then Islamic banking will help diversify the bond market through sukuk issuance. So we are issuing bonds, but the domestic bond market is not well developed. We raise a lot of capital from the international debt market. And if we allow Islamic banking to operate, Islamic banking will introduce sukuk, that is Islamic bond, and that would diversify the bond market in the country. Then, restructuring zakat and corporate social responsibility, as I explained. The underlying principles of Islamic finance support social inclusive and development promoting activities and have the potential to contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Islamic finance has contributed to private sector project finance and governmental project finance through the public-private partnership agreement. We have been practicing PPP arrangement over the decades by using PPP policy created at the department in the Ministry of Finance. But in 2020, we moved forward by enacting a law that will guide and direct PPP activities in the country. So Islamic banking is well aligned with the tenet of PPP arrangement. And we believe with the introduction of Islamic banking, PPP engagement will be enhanced in the country, and we may see more projects coming on board, and we may see a diversification of infrastructure finance in the country. So you see goal 1, no poverty. Islamic banking contribute to financing reduction in poverty. You see infrastructure in goal 10. That definitely is a huge issue in the country. In fact, the World Bank has already estimated that China will be a leader in need of capital to finance infrastructure projects between 2016 to 2030. What that means is that there will be competition for funds for infrastructure development. And I think it is high time as a country we begin to explore Islamic banking options to provide some capital for engagement in the provision of infrastructure, because North African countries will also be clamoring for the same debt, international debt market, and Africa in general will be competing for the same debt market. So it is important that we take notice of Islamic banking to provide some alternative funding sources. So recognition by World Bank, recognition by the IMF, recognition by the UN. In fact, in 2023, a joint report published by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and the Islamic Development Bank on innovation in Islamic finance indicated that Islamic finance offers to deepen financial inclusion, better risk sharing, focus on financing real economic activities, work beyond the requirement of ESG, and contribute to the good of society. ESG is the new development in the business cycles, now focusing on environment, social impact, and governance. And International Financial Reporting Standard has gone ahead to include it into their standard. Now, business schools are teaching it as part of their business models across board. So, Islamic banking will do more than what ESG proposes. The report further projected Islamic finance as a better option to financing SMEs and startups and address the Sustainable Development Goal. Startups face a lot of problems because most startups do not have historical record of performance. Therefore, it is very difficult for them to showcase a history to a financial institution to finance their activity. Islamic banking is structured based on joint venture activities, based on partnership activities, based on venture capital activities, which would dare to provide some capital to finance startups and project to finance SMEs in appropriate manner. History of Islamic banking. In fact, some Islamic scholars say Islamic banking is as old as Islam. And some Islamic scholars also indicate that before the 19th century, the trade relation between the Arabs and the Europeans was based on partnership arrangement, which is a key or cardinal principle under Islamic finance, where profit and loss were actually shared. So before the 19th century, they were practicing economic transactions where interest was not part, but they share profit and loss. The first modern Islamic bank started in 1963 in Egypt with the introduction of a Mid-Gamal local savings bank. And then in 1967, the Nasser Social Bank was established in Egypt. In 1975, the Islamic Development Bank was established in Saudi Arabia to supervise, coordinate activities of Islamic bankings across the world. Then in 1977, we have Islamic Bank introduced in Sudan. And in 1980, the government of Luxembourg established the first Islamic Bank in Luxembourg. And then in 1986, Turkey started Islamic banking. That is to tell you that Islamic banking is a baby when we compare to conventional finance. And that is why we are not arguing that Islamic banking is better than conventional banking. That's why we are not arguing that Islamic banking should replace conventional banking. We are only saying Islamic banking should complement conventional finance. Of course, in Africa, Islamic banking started in 1989 in South Africa, and then in 2010, South Africa law was changed. The tax law of South Africa was changed to reflect the dealings in the Islamic banking in 2010. In 2014, South Africa issued the first Islamic bond, which we call Sukuk. Nigeria started Islamic banking in 2011 and became operationalized in January 2012. And they started issuing the first Sukuk or Islamic bond from 2013. Islamic Bank started in Benin in 2005. So Islamic banks are in Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin. Throughout West Africa, it's only Ghana that is not reintroducing Islamic banks. Now the dream of Ghana to introduce Islamic Bank. The desire to introduce Islamic Bank started in 2004. Of course, as I said, it was started by advocacy activities by groups aligned with Islamic religion. But that was not long-lived. It truncated and then got revived again in 2012. And that also became passive and then became active again from 2016. And from 2016 today, advocacy activities have been going on, led by Islamic Finance Research Institute of Ghana, IFRICH, which have been engaging stakeholders to discuss issues regarding Islamic finance and Islamic banking at conferences, seminars, and public engagement with Muslims and non-Muslims. Then they have also engaged the Bank of Ghana, and I must indicate that sometimes the Bank of Ghana show interest, and other times the Bank of Ghana does not show interest in Islamic banking. Of course, since we are discussing introduction of Islamic banking, the thought or the idea is replete among our society. And I must indicate that we have seen in the manifesto of the NDC in 2020 the desire to introduce Islamic banking when they win power, but they didn't win power, so they couldn't introduce it. So the ball is in your court. If you want Islamic banking to come our way, you can think about it. Well, when we are discussing Islamic banking, there are people who tell us that even the Bible supports Islamic banking. But we will see whether the Bible wholly supports Islamic banking or not. And there are, as a result of that, people do not want to describe Islamic banking as it is. They use derivative names such as ethical banking, alternative banking, interest-free banking, but the thing is Islamic banking. So in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 19 to 20, do not charge your brother interest on money, food, or any other type of loan. Unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury. Usury is interest. In fact, Islamic scholars will tell you there is difference between usury and interest. They say usury is excessive interest. But unto their brother thou shalt not lend upon usury, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all that thou settest thine hand to do in the land whither thou goest to possess it. So, if the person is not your relations, you can charge interest. So it means this scriptural provision is not for commercial purposes. It's for communal relations. Now let's see what the Bible says in Matthew 25, verse 27. When Jesus gave the talent to the servant and went away, and one person did not trade on the one talent that was given to him. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchanges, financial institutions, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. So this is a recognition that in the general economy at that time, it is known that interest was charged. It's known that interest was charged. But the scriptural injunctions that we read was only meant to foster communal relation. And Islamic banking is for profit making, is for profit sharing. So it's different from communal relation building. We have lived in Ghana for some time. Some of us are very young. In fact, my seniors were whispering to me when I was there that when they say I completed secondary school in 1993, that was the time that they had jobs here. So traditional religions also practice what I read in Deuteronomy. In fact, we don't give money to our neighbors, our families, to pay school fees, to pay hospital bills, and charge interest. We don't do that. Do we? No, we don't do that. So that is not the basis of interest-free financing we're talking about. It is based on profit sharing. So we are in Ghana. We have given holidays that reflect Islamic religion. We are giving holidays that reflect Christianity. So what is there that we will give that will mean we are promoting Islamic religion? it is not its introduction of Islamic banking that will promote Islamic religion, because we have recognized Islamic religion. We are giving them holidays. So I don't think Islamic banking is what is going to promote Islamic religion in Ghana. Of course, the resistance that we see in other countries, Nigeria, Uganda, everywhere that is introduced in Africa, there is some resistance. Then the resistance is based on social influence and religious affiliation. And to curb that, we need to engage stakeholders for them to understand the principles and the purpose for Islamic banking. All we want is to create new banking jobs. All we want is to ensure that we have other means of financing our infrastructure in the country. And as I said, conventional banking or finance see interest as reward for taking risk, reward for investment and savings. But Islamic banking see interest as disruptive and burdensome for businesses and households, and that it must not be allowed. General prohibitions. Interest is prohibited, is not allowed. Games of chance are not allowed, like gambling and including sport betting. But I must indicate that online gambling market in Ghana is projected to generate about $57 million in 2024. And the online sport betting projected to generate is valued at $30.4 million, projected to be achieved in 2024. Then TGM research projects that 41.7% of the Ghanaian population involved in sport betting. Yes, I'm emphasizing on the point that we need Islamic banking only to complement conventional finance. We are not calling for to abolish all these activities. So we are having a parallel financial arrangement where those who believe that they don't want to participate in sport betting, they don't want to participate in gambling, will continue to operate under the conventional financial system. And those who think that they don't want to participate in these things will now have an outlet to participate in financial activities, which we call in financial inclusion and complement to conventional finance. So that again tells you the size of Islamic banking is smaller than the size of conventional economy. But the point we are making is not about the size, but it's about the complement that it provides for conventional finance. Of course, I must indicate that we have started experiencing, or we have started seeing some of our students showing signs of not paying school fees because they have used the school fees to participate in online sport betting. We have seen some of our students gone through psychological trauma because they have lost huge sum of money in participating in online sport betting. That should not be taken away. Then speculations, or what is called excessive uncertainty. In fact, in the 70s and 80s, Islamic finance does not allow derivative transactions. But in recent times, derivative transactions have been structured to reflect profit-sharing principle. Therefore, we will see some derivative transactions such as futures and options being traded under Islamic banking. And also we see over-the-counter derivatives such as forward contract also reflecting Islamic principle of profit sharing, and they are allowed now. In fact, In 1975, I read about a finance minister of Indonesia who described derivative as gambling in the financial market. The World Bank, illegal activities such as environmental destruction, in Ghana we call it galamsey, is not permitted under Islamic banking. And that is why I related it to climate change and the rest at my initial discussion. Of course, the World Bank cautioned us in 2020 about the amount we are spending to deal with environmental destruction, 6.3 billion. And at that time, when you equate it or you compare it to the size of the Ghanaian economy, it will be about 11%. That is huge destruction we are causing. But Islamic finance will not permit those things. Alcoholic beverage is not permitted under Islamic finance. But, but again, the size of that market will give us something close to $2.5 million. So that is why I keep saying that Islamic banking is not to substitute conventional finance. It's only to complement Islamic conventional finance. Yet it is known that when those who are practicing Islamic faith earn interest in jurisdictions that they don't have Islamic banks, they are asked to pay those monies into charity. But we won't question whether it's been done or not. Especially if you are able to earn interest on your investment about 500,000. I don't know whether it's been paid. So it's very difficult. So profit and loss sharing will be permitted, risk sharing will be encouraged, and lending without collateral will be encouraged under Islamic banking, and equity investment will be encouraged, and there will be active monitoring of investment. And of course, the arrangement of Islamic finance supports SMEs and the rest. That's why it is described as friendly to entrepreneurs and small-scale enterprises. So lenders and borrowers will reduce moral hazard, discourage asset-liability mismatch, as we see currently going on in the country. We are heavily investing, or we are heavily mobilizing funds from T-bill and financing long-term activities. That has some negative consequences for us if we continue doing so. So it will encourage moral financing. Degree of financial stability is assured. It will ensure economies of scope. That is talking about the number of financial products and services available. That's described financial economies of scope. Then less exposed to credit risk as compared to conventional banking. Confusion over Section 18(1)(r) of Act 930, Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016 at 930. In fact, some central bankers hold some views that if you read Section 18(1)(r), there is an introduction of non-interest banking services. And for them, that is enough to allow Islamic banking to operate. But a comprehensive and proper reading of Act 930 does not support that position. The reason is, I guess, when financial institutions, through their credit policy and concurrence by the regulator, assess a particular project or assess a particular client, they can wish to grant that client near zero interest or zero interest. And that does not mean an allowance to introduce Islamic banking in the country. Then in Section 19 put restriction on banks to engage in some activities, including commercial agriculture or direct industrial activities and immovable property. But these are the areas that Islamic banking will foster collaboration, joint ventures, and raise sukuk to finance. So you can say, in the presence of this limitation, Islamic banking is allowed under Section 18 of Act 930. Then again, Islamic banking governance is totally different, but subject to the general supervision of the central bank. Islamic banking governance will provide or will build trust, promote transparency and good of society. Islamic banking governance structure is a subset of the general governance of the central bank. In a secular democracy, there shall be no Sharia court. There shall be a Sharia supervisory board to deal with compliance with Islamic products and services to align with Islamic principles. And these provisions are not in Act 930. So you can say that Act 930 provide or create a conduit for the establishment of Islamic banking in Ghana. As it is now, Act 930 does not encourage the introduction of Islamic banking. There are some challenges that we need to appreciate under this structure. One, the central bank actually does what we call lender of last resort. When banks are in difficulties, they go to the central bank for liquidity support and other support and pay interest to the central bank. So we need to find a way, if Islamic banking is introduced, how the lender of last resort activities will be extended to Islamic banks in the country. Of course, Nigeria has started Islamic Bank, Sudan, etc. have started Islamic Bank. There are always ways of learning from those who have started before us. Then there's something we call interbank money market activities. Banks trade among themselves, and it's at interest. So how will Islamic banks, engage in this money market activity, interbank activities to pay interest? So we need to restructure how that is done to reflect control by the central bank over Islamic banks, so that Islamic banks are not standing alone. Then capacity building is a key issue. We have auditing for Islamic banks. We have financial reporting for Islamic bank. All these things, capital market activities, how they are recorded, etc. We need capacity building in those areas. Then another challenge that I want to highlight is the membership of the Sharia Supervisory Board. I believe Muslims will have to be very, very accommodating, bearing in mind that we are talking about introduction of Islamic banking in a secular democracy. In a secular democracy, Sharia law will not be a Sharia court will not be present, and how we are going to undertake this thing to ensure that it's a reflective of inclusiveness is very, very important. In some countries, they've been able to bring those Islamic scholars, especially in jurisprudence relating to commerce, and they bring other individuals who are not Muslims, but they understand Islamic finance, to the Sharia board to determine the activities of Islamic banking. So that is what I am proposing for the necessary introduction of Islamic banking. Then we also need to be very careful about lack of uniformity in the application of Islamic law by different Islamic sects. That can also create problem. And so the point is accommodation. Then again, we need to do a lot of capacity building for our lawyers, for our judges, for our accountants, and the rest. Because when there is dispute about Islamic banking product and transaction, are we going to Sharia court? No, we can't create Sharia court under a secular democracy. Therefore, the way out is to provide capacity building for judges, lawyers, and court officials so that that can be dealt with. So the implication is, I propose for the introduction of Islamic banking, we need to review or change at 9:30 to reflect Islamic banking activities. I propose we need to change at 10:61, that is about the insurance, that is takaful, so that it can reflect the views of Islamic insurance. And the same thing will be called for at 9:29, that deals with the capital market activities to accommodate capital market activities by Islamic finance. Approaches to Islamic banking. We have three approaches. One, pure Islamic banking. The second one is Islamic banking window, and then hybrid Islamic banking approach. The pure one is that when you are established as a bank, you are only established to issue or to deal with Islamic financial product and services. Nothing more, nothing less. But the window, that is when conventional banks are given licenses to deal in Islamic financial product and services. And that is why we see banks like SBSC, Citigroup, Zenith Bank in Nigeria, that is the mother bank in Nigeria, Stanbic Bank, ABSA, Stanchart, etc., already have expertise in that. And if we introduce Islamic banks in Ghana, that is not a difficulty at all in bringing expertise to foster the process. Hybrid means that banks are actually licensed to operate only Islamic financial product and services, and then some other banks are allowed to go through the window. When Sudan was establishing Islamic banking, Uganda, they were very clear they were not going in for the hybrid approach. So we should think which approach we should go to. Generally, we have the benefit of attracting foreign direct investment. We have the benefit of financing big infrastructure projects. We have the benefit of improving socioeconomic activities, increase economic growth and development, increase internally generated funds through taxes, or because all these people will be engaged and pay taxes, increase financial inclusion, and reduce budget deficit and the burden of debt. Now, let me conclude by touching on some of the contracts inherent in Islamic banking. So, we see Musharaka, which is under partnership. We see leasing, Murabaha. Then we see Salama. Then we see leasing, that is about Ijara. Then we see agency agreement, that is Wakala. Partnership, sales agreement focus on manufacturing activities. Then we also see leasing, that is Ijara. And under that, we also see the Wakala, which is under agency. Let me now look at this critically. Permit me to use my glass at this point. Yeah, so this is how it looks like. So we have two partners, as I talked about earlier on. So partner one, so this is a kind of a limited partnership. So under limited partnership, one partner is providing the capital or excessively providing the capital, and the other partner is providing less or none. But the other partner is choosing as the manager of the project that they want to undertake. So this is the project. So this is the project here. That's what I'm calling the venture. So when the venture is managed, When the venture is managed, it declares profit or loss. And that profit or loss, so if it's a profit, that's the green line. So it is shared. The partner 1 take its part, and the partner 2 take its part. And when loss is declared, then it's also shared per the proportion that they agreed before the partnership started. So partner 1 will take its share of the losses, and partner 2 will also take its share of the losses. So we are saying that Sukuk would diversify the bond market because we don't have Sukuk now. It's not helping in the financing structure of the country. So when that comes in, then additional comes in. So that is the diversification of the bond market in addition to the conventional bond activities. So again, we see an agreement. So you can see the coat of arms of Ghana there. So assuming that is the government of Ghana will enter into agreement with a special purpose vehicle. And the special purpose vehicle is very important because its attraction of capital from Sukuk investors has no recourse to the balance sheet of the state. It has recourse to its own balance sheet. So before the money is raised, the SPV will enter into what we call declaration of trust. That means that they are going to declare that they are going to ensure that the money raised will finance permissible activities under Islamic law. Then in addition, they are going to demonstrate that they are going to use the money to finance only the project earmarked for the procurement of the capital of the loan. So that is what we call declaration of trust. And when that happens, then the Sukuk bondholders will now give the money to the SPV, and the SPV will direct the money to the project. And the project can be road contract from Takoradi to Accra, can be rail project from Accra to Kumasi. And when that project is done and is managed, the proceeds will be declared. If it's profit, then they will share the profit based on the proportion of involvement agreed with the bondholders and the rest. So that is that. Then Ijara. We believe that Ijara will deepen the property market because that is another conduit to finance property in the country. So first we have the spot market where the property is built, you pay, and it's delivered to you. But here the bank is serving as the buyer of the property. And you can see an agreement between customers or lessees with the bank. So they have signed agreement, and then with that agreement, when the property is delivered, the bank allow the customers to pay rent to it. You can see the rentals there, and over time, the property is released to the customers. So that is what we're talking about. This only shows how Nigeria has taken advantage of the Sukuk market over time. In fact, I will show you a graph that shows how Nigeria is heavily benefiting from the Sukuk market. Wakala Sukuk structure. Again, Wakala means agency. So again, you can see the bank is serving as an agent. You see an agreement between the bank and an SPV. Okay? The bank and SPV. So the bank has a relation with the developers, and when the money is raised by the SPV, the money is passed to the bank, and the bank directs the money through the developers. Developers finish their work, and the houses are delivered to the bank, and the bank now deliver the bank to the housing to those who are serving as customers, that the civil servant, etc. And the civil servant will be paying lease rentals to the bank, and the bank will send the proceeds to the SPV. So that is how it's arranged. Yes, this is the graph I'm talking about. All the yellow shows how Nigeria is heavily benefiting from the Sukuk market, raising different amount of money to finance road projects. In fact, that particular graph is the road project map for Nigeria benefiting from Sukuk transactions. This is just the banks that are participating in the process. So as I said earlier on, some of the banks are already operating in Ghana, and if we introduce Islamic banking, expertise can be transferred from their mother banks to them to start the process. Yes, this is a project delivery and transparency profile. As I said earlier on, there is a declaration of trust that the money will be used to finance activities that are not inimical or that do not violate the Islamic principle. Again, the money will be used to finance the activities that have been earmarked for the procurement of the money. So at a point in time, they are showcasing what they have done with the money, what they have used the money for. They are indicating that we told you we will use it for road construction from point A to point B. We have delivered on that. As opposed to what we see in the conventional financial structure, we go to the bond market, we borrow the money, we realize that we don't have enough money to do one or two things, then we seize off some of the money to that area to finance the activities. The projects are locked up, they are not completed, and then we keep on paying interest on those loans. That will not happen under Islamic banking or Islamic finance. So infrastructure benefits have been stressed already. So my recommendation, ladies and gentlemen, is the Bank of Ghana to create the environment for adoption of Islamic banking. The government of Ghana should be interested in diversifying sources of infrastructure for projects or infrastructure in the country. Again, this would deepen entrepreneurial support in the country, adopt Islamic banking to contribute to meeting the Sustainable Development Goals, and Sharia board should reflect secular democratic values. Contribution. I have contributed to the discipline of finance by teaching finance, oil and gas, quantitative methods, and law. I have published 57 journal articles, 1 book chapter, and three books to my credit. The publications cover the areas such as venture capital, mergers and acquisition, corporate social responsibility, debt structure within the fiscal framework of Ghana, oil and gas quantitative methods, non-macroeconomic indicators, and minority right, financial and operating leverage, capital structure of banks and insurance firms. From 2017, my publications focus on the following areas: corporate governance and institutional structures, remittance and financial inclusion, population growth and energy consumption, monetary policy and governance, credit risk and operational risk, trade liberalization policies and foreign direct investment, soundness of banks' access to credit, and the Wagner hypothesis that focuses on fiscal management of the country. Financial development, digital financial ecosystem, taxation, and dollarization, among others. Professor Chair, thank you very much for giving me audience.
Shall we do it for him one more time while our speaker takes his seat? Professor Gatchie will be back to acknowledge a few individuals who have contributed to his growth to this point. But until then, I'll call on the Department of Music to give us a musical interlude.
Good afternoon. The song we're rendering says, patience is the medicine to the world, and a man of patience can receive from the king. We are singing in Ewe. Thank you very much. Jibodi yenye hihe ya me fachike Mojidi tonuto na chohono lefia hosi agbe vyade ya kondi mele hihame Eyata honye tonudoku na duji Jibodi yenye hihe ya me fatike Mojidi donudo na chohono lefia hosi agbe fiade ya kondi miele hihame Eyata honye donudo kuna duji Migboji nanyi Midonudo lo tonya weji gbodila Nuvevye onye Migboji nanyi Midonudo lo tonya weji gbodila Nuvevye onye mi va se Mi va se Mi va se Mi va se lo Mi boji doni Mi donu dolo Tonya weji bodila Nou vevye onye Mi boji doni Mi donu dolo Tonya weji bodila Nou vevye onye Mi va se Mi va se, mi va se, mi va se, mi va se lo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Department of Music. Let's kindly welcome Professor Gatchie to acknowledge a few individuals. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you. I wish to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Samuel Agbematu, who was my mathematics teacher at A-level. Is he here? What is Ima? Very good, Dr. Emmanuel, yeah. That is the son. I also want to recognize, he's not here, but he called me this morning to wish me well, Mr. Edo. When we passed common entrance, he was the one who took us to, in fact, that time I didn't know Keta, so he has to take us. In fact, is Dr. Adukpo here? Is Dr. Adukpo here? Yeah, so he took the three of us to Keta Secondary School. In fact, by the time we get to Keta, he dropped Dr. Adukpo on the way at Anglon Secondary School. So, Mr. Edo, wherever you are, I'm very grateful to you. I also want to particularly recognize Mr. Albert Butias. Mr. Albert Butias is here with us. In fact, when I was in the university, I spent all my holidays with him. In fact, he virtually gave me money like his boy until I finished my national service and started work. In fact, I need to indicate that it is not possible to recognize everybody here, but I am very grateful to all of you for coming. I want to, first of all, recognize the university management for giving me the opportunity to present my inaugural lecture, the Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, all Provosts, particularly the Provost of the College of Humanities and Legal Studies where I belong. I recognize the immense contribution by past Provosts, Professor Stephen Kendi, Professor Francisca Dora Edu-Buando, Professor Amakwando, and my current Provost, Professor Kwame Osei Kwatin. I also want to recognize the immense contribution by the School of Business. I recognize the Vice Dean. I recognize past Deans, Professor Edward Mafoyadom. I also recognize the contribution by Professor Boachimensan. In fact, even when he was on retirement, his contribution to our journal has been very, very remarkable. So I recognize that. You know, the Pro-VC is a member of the School of Business. In fact, the Pro-VC happens to be the first person who became a full professor in the School of Business before I follow her. She was also one time a vice dean of the school, so I recognize her contribution, especially in CECET. I also recognize Professor Elizabeth Anampra, a former vice dean of the school. And I want to thank everybody in the School of Business, the heads of department. In fact, we have loaned a number of people to various parts of the university from the School of Business. I want to thank the Provost of the College of Distance Education. In fact, he has recently agreed to put funds in our lecture theaters for us. I want to recognize Professor Daniel Japon, who is the director of DAPCA. We have loaned it to DAPCA. And then we have also loaned Professor Sian Frimpong to code, so I recognize you. I recognize lecturers, staff, those working in the Dean's office, all the effort you put in place to realize what we are observing today. I recognize Professor Ishmael Mensah, Professor Rebecca Day Mensah, all the teaching assistant, the graduate assistant. I recognize all of you, SRC executive, local news executive, GRASAC executive. I recognize all of you. Then I want to particularly recognize, I come from a very wide municipality, so it is very difficult to organize this program and knowing who to invite as a traditional leader and who you shouldn't invite. In fact, when I contacted Togi Ashiagbo, what he was giving me was too large to be contained in this room. So I have to plead with him before he managed to give me the following. Togbi Ashiagbo, the fourth Dufiagan of the traditional area, is in our midst. Togbi Atiflam, the third Miafiagan of the traditional area. ACP Togbi Ege, the fourth, the chief of Afiade Nyigba, Anglo Afiade Nyigba. Joja, the chief of Joja, sorry. Then Togbi Jaba, the third, divisional chief of Devago, my hometown. Then Togbi Akamu, the fifth, chief of Anglo Afiade Nyigba. So now, let me finish up. Professor Jane Nana Opoku Ajima, from the NDC headquarters, Accra. And the 2020 flag running mate of the flag bearer of the NDC. Honorable Dr. Kwamina Minta Nyaku, MP, Cape Coast North Constituency. And he still works for us. Mauli Hedo, banking, who works in the banking landscape in Ghana, is also in our midst. Dr. Nashiru Isahaku, former governor of the Bank of Ghana. Dr. Johnson Isiama, deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, former. The NDC chairperson for the Central Region is in our midst. Mr. Richard Asiedu is in our midst. In fact, the head of the law chamber that I belong to, EBA Law Consult, is in our midst in the person of Mr. Bright Atoko. The council chairman from ref of the council of EP University are in our midst. Are they here? Yeah. Then We have some groups who have been promoting Islamic finance in the country, Zakat and Sadaqah Trust Fund. Are they in our midst? Dr. Ali and your team. Rep from the National Imam is in our midst. So we thank you for coming. Professor Awunyo Victor of KNUSC, you are the Provost of the College of Agriculture. Thank you for coming. My good friend, Dr. Richard Akoto from UPSA. Yeah, thank you for coming. The former Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke. I also want to be grateful to Gabriela Tete for gracing the occasion. Can you? Frida Banini from, yes. I cannot call all of you. I only want to say I thank you. I now want to thank my family. And I want to thank my family. I can see lawyer Emmanuel Abuno. We were called to the bar at the same time. Thank you. I want to recognize the presence of my uncle, Sifas Gatchie. Yeah. I want to recognize my niece, Dr. Obini from Ho Technical University. Yes. Nyatepe is following her. Yeah, thank you. Then now I'm going down the lane. I want to recognize my mother. I want to recognize my sister, Victoria. Thank you. I want to recognize my sister, Edith. Then I want to recognize my in-laws. Xavier Dovi, yes. Raphael, yes. Then my nieces are there. Delali Gatchie, yes, yes. And Rahina, Wendy, oh, Ruth. Who is hiding there? Sophia. Derek, I recognize all of you. And Salam. Finally, I want to recognize my wife. Down. So my daughter, Gloria Aseye Gatchi, is there. Akofa is not able to come because he's writing exam, and Ubune is there. I just want to thank all of you for coming. I can't remember all of you. Muta Wakilu, you are welcome. Yes. I cannot forget our landlord, Osa Berima Kusieta IV. The second is in our midst, as usual. That's all. And Nana Kuku Enu is also in our midst. Nanamba Eyamba, you are in our midst. I will come and pay something for pronouncing your name wrong. Okay, thank you.
You can't exit. Okay. Okay. Let's do it for our speaker. So we have reached a very crucial point in today's ceremony, and that is what we call the robing ceremony. I'll call on the College of Professors to do us the honors with this particular section of the event. Let's welcome them with a round of applause.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I don't feel accepted. Hello, good afternoon. Great, now I feel accepted. Thank you very much. This is a very symbolic exercise. It's called the College of Professors. We are just representative. We are very many. And Prof. Gatchie would have been almost the 200th. So we're very many, but a lot of us are taken away by other assignments. The symbolic exercise is that today, most of you have seen Professor Gatchie under the table, like those three virgins who lit the lamp and put under the table. Today we have brought him out, and he has presented himself to the general public. Most of you have also seen him on TV, making comments on our economy, our finances, and all that. Today, when you meet him somewhere, yes, I've seen this man. He is an academic, he's a lawyer, a banker, financier, and I'm hoping that one day, before he leaves the four walls of University of Cape Coast, since we are #1 in almost everything, we will be seeing an Islamic bank on this campus. So, thank you very much. On this note, he is going to unrope. He will remove this red dress. They will rope him with this, is it navy blue or sea blue? I don't know. But he will put it on later for pictures. But the navy blue is to symbolize that he's being now invited and officially welcomed into the fold of what we call Obemfo, the group of Obemfo. I have forgotten my Ewe because we come from the same area. I come from Tajevu, but the Ewe in what I would have said about the Professor Gan, I've forgotten. So let's unrope him, but with your permission, the lecturer's permission, my colleagues' permission, and the greatest pleasure on my part to invite my sister from Commander, Honorable Professor Nana Jane Opokwajima, to help rope our candidate. She is my sister from Commander, even though I come from Tajevu and Nandom. So the Vice Chancellor will assist Professor Nana, since she brought him onto this campus. All right. So, you want to start to congratulate him. She will congratulate him and welcome him. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
Thank you very much, Professor Kumpoli. Members of the college will now take turns to congratulate Professor Gatchie. I would invite the Registrar of University of Cape Coast to take his turn to congratulate Professor Gatchie. I would invite former Vice Chancellor UCC, Professor Joseph Gatsi to also take his turn to congratulate Professor Gatchie. Professor Mauto Avoke will take his turn to congratulate Professor Gatchie. Professor Dora Francisca Dubuando, former Pro-Vice Chancellor UCC, would also take a turn to congratulate Professor Gatchie. I'll call on the Central Regional Chairman of the NDC to do us the honors, as well as the NDC caucus here, to come up and congratulate Professor Gatchie. The Regional Chair of the NDC, the Central Regional Chairman of the NDC, as well as the NDC caucus here, to congratulate Professor Gatchie. The NDC caucus here. Please, you have the opportunity now to congratulate Professor Gatchie. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Cape Coast North, Dr. Kwamna Mintanyako. Honorable Adam, kindly take your turn to congratulate. I would invite Dr. Abdul Isahaku, former Governor, Bank of Ghana, and the former deputy as well, to do us the honors. I would invite the wife and children. Let's welcome them. Let's welcome the wife and children. Kindly exit from my left. Rep from EB Law Consult, if you're here, kindly take your turn. EB Law Consult. I would invite UTAG. 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 Executives of UTAG. We still have some members of the EB Law Consult taking their turn to congratulate Professor Gatchie. Approaching executives of UTAG, UCC.
Citation in honor of Professor John Gatchie, Esquire. We members of UTAG UCC wish to congratulate you as you deliver your inaugural lecture on the topic Islamic banking options, exploring an inclusive alternative or complement. On this day, 29 February 2024, we proudly recognize your hard work that has propelled you to achieve this enviable academic pinnacle. As a professor of finance, we believe that you will continue to train, mentor, and motivate and inspire younger colleagues to reach higher heights in their academic pursuit. Congratulations on your well-deserved success.
Thank you very much, UTAG. Executives of UTAG UCC presenting a citation of honor to Professor Gatchie. School of Business. School of Business. You take your turn to congratulate Professor Gatchie. Professor Gatchie is Dean of the School of Business.
Citation in honor of Professor John Gatchie, Esquire. This citation conveys our sincere congratulations to you for attaining the prestigious rank of a professor in the University of Cape Coast. You were appointed by the university as a lecturer on 15th February 2007 in the then Department of Accounting and Finance. By dint of determination and hard work, you rose through the ranks to a professor, the highest rank in the university in August 2020. You have contributed enormously to the finance and economics landscape of Ghana and the world at large. And the topic for your inaugural lecture, Islamic banking options, exploring an inclusive alternative or complement, is a true reflection of that. Surely, your lecture will help to heighten the scholarly image of the Department of Finance and the School of Business in the area of finance. Management, staff, and students of the school congratulate you for your role as an educator, administrator, advisor, advocate of students' matters, and exemplary dedication to leadership. The UCC School of Business is proud to be associated with your sterling feat and shares in your joy at your inaugural lecture. Once again, accept our warmest congratulations. UCC School of Business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. So you kindly present the citation to Prof. There's another one by administrators at the School of Business. They would also present a citation to Professor Gatchie. The UCC Association of Business Students would also present a citation. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, School of Business. Now we have 13 former TAs of Professor Gatchie who equally want to present a citation to him. The 13 TAs of Professor Gatchie, former TAs of Professor Gatchie, have a citation to present to him. Now, this citation has a personal note from each of them to Prof. So, Prof, you take your time and then you go through each of them. They are personal notes to you, congratulating you on such a feat. 13 TAs, former TAs of Professor Gatchie. And they'll be followed by PhD students, 2022 year group. Let's welcome the TAs with their citation. The citation has personal notes on them to Professor Gatchie. Individual notes coming from all the TAs to Professor Gatchie. PhD 2022 year group students. Thank you very much. The 2022 year group PhD students would also present a citation to Professor Gatchie. Right, thank you very much, Prof. There's another citation. Okay, so this citation is coming from management of the College of Humanities and Legal Studies to Professor Gatchie. Thank you very much. So, Prof, you would exit from my right and shake hands with Nanambe Yaba, the Ogwama Hen, Nana Kwekwenu, and then Professor Eisen is on my extreme left, after which you take your seat. You can also take away from Togbeo and Mamao, who are all present here today. And that will be it. Let's do it for Prof. Whilst he's congratulated by Nanamba Iyaba. She's a Kronte Hima of Ogwa, Queen Mother of Efutu. Osabere Makwisata II is the Ogwa Manhin. And Nanakwenu is the Manra Hin of Ogwa. He would proceed to shake hands with Professor K.N. Eisen. Professor Emeritus Eisen. We can do it better for Professor Gatchie. Thank you very much. I have the pleasure of acknowledging a few more individuals. I believe Professor Gatchie has done the chunk of the work already. So I would acknowledge Professor Johnson Yakob Wampong, the Vice Chancellor UCC, who chaired this inaugural lecture. We also acknowledge Mr. Jefte Emmanuel Onyame. He is the Registrar UCC. Well, this has been done already, but then since she belongs to us as well, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, she is a former Vice Chancellor, University of Cape Coast. We acknowledge you, ma'am. Professor Emeritus K.N. Eisen is also here. He's a former Acting Vice Chancellor of UCC. Professor Domwini Dabere Kumpole, forgive me, is a former Vice Chancellor, University of Cape Coast. Professor Joseph Gatiampia is also a former Vice Chancellor, University of Cape Coast. We duly acknowledge Professor Dora Francisca Edubwando, former Vice Chancellor, UCC. Professor George K.T. Odro is also a former Pro-Vice Chancellor of UCC. Thank you very much. I believe that the rest have been duly acknowledged by Professor Gatchie. Help me welcome our Vice Chancellor who chaired the inaugural lecture to give his closing remarks.
Today, we have created a platform for Professor Gatchie to deliver his inaugural lecture on the topic Islamic banking options, exploring an inclusive alternative or complement. He has been able to take us through Islamic banking versus conventional banking. And he's not saying that we should replace we should replace conventional banking with Islamic banking. That's not what he's saying. But he's advocating that Islamic banking can be added to the conventional banking in managing our economies. He has shown the characteristics of Islamic banking. And one thing I like about it, that with Islamic banking, we are not going to have environmental degradation. And one exciting thing is that we are also going to reduce alcohol consumption. And he's saying that the interest rate is low. Besides, it also helps to reduce poverty and promote social justice. In fact, it is also recognized, Islamic banking is also recognized by World Bank, IMF, and UN. And he has given the history. And he has even quoted Bibles to support the Islamic banking. So it's not something that is bad for the country. He also mentioned that it's in somewhere 2012, they tried to start introducing Islamic banking, but it has not been established. Maybe with time, and he thinks that when NDC come to power, it may be established. Okay. He also talked about underlying principles of Islamic banking and recommended that Ghana can also bring on board Islamic banking to support the conventional banking. He also showed us his contribution to research and publications, also to training, his contribution in training students, and also extension services. So Professor Gatchie, today we have shown you to the world that indeed for Islamic banking, if you want more information, look for Professor Gatchie. Thank you.
Professor Chair, I would kindly ask that you permit me to acknowledge the College of Professors. Let's do it for them. A round of applause for the College of Professors. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. And also to Mama Egbo, the second Queen Mother of George Fiagbaju. Give us a wave. Thank you so much for being here. We'll take the closing prayer. Reverend Dr. Patrick Kwampa will do us the honors. Let's welcome him, please.
Shall we rise as an honor to God even as we take the closing prayer? Shall we pray? Gracious God, we thank you for a very successful program. And as we are about to close the program, we thank you for your presence. We thank you for our professors' achievements. And we give you all the glory. We thank you for the lives of all the dignitaries that grace this occasion. We thank you for the lives of all the functionaries that performed to make this program a success. We commit our departure into your hands, and may you continue to bless the entire university. We thank you for an answered prayer. This we pray in the name of Christ Jesus our Lord. And now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and all the time throughout your life give you peace. Amen.
Thank you very much. We shall remain standing for the Vice Chancellor's recession, after which we'll have a photo session out of this auditorium. Thank you very much. Our dignitaries will follow. Nananom will follow. Togbeo, Mamao would also follow.